Hello gamers and dragons. Today we're going to be looking at the 920 MA cloud and evening trading because some of us can't trade during the day, and so I'm looking at the trades after 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to see if it's worth even trying evening trades. So let's go. I have this all set up on September 1st at 4:59 p.m. and you'll notice that the last candle of the day was 12 o'clock noon because that was September 1st, which was a Labor Day U.S. holiday. So we're going to go ahead and press play on this, and we're sitting at 4:59, 40 seconds. At 5 o'clock, it will open up the evening trading. Throughout this video, I will cut and clip to speed it up so that it doesn't take a long time to play the video. Here we go. Now, I do like to pull mine off the wall. Okay, so that was really quick. We're setting at 1x speed, but it went up and down immediately. And if we look at today's trades, we had a long, it went back down, did a crossover short, but immediately went back up above the 50 MA to longs again. So we're going to see where this is going. Right now, it's too soon to tell what's going to happen. We have a green cloud with a red edge descending. And so we don't want to get in just yet. So while that's playing out, let's see if we can set our profit target. Here we had where price interacted right about here at 2 levels and reversed. And then we have one here, and we're going to go ahead and go on down, mark this and this. Now, if we take a look at where our entry potentially is, we're talking that is a $1,000 trade, 1,300, 18, 2,500. I'm going to go ahead and pick an ATM strategy using a $250 stop loss and a $1,000 profit target. And once I get into the trade, I can adjust it accordingly. I also do have a margin on my properties for this chart, and it's a right side margin of 35, which starts out with it a little bit off the wall instead of right smack on the wall, which I don't like. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull this out, and we're going to set our profit target for around this level, which was around $1,000. Okay, over here on our 2-minute chart, we're seeing that it is below the 50 MA, and we've got a red crossover, but we don't trust our 2-minute because it is inconsistent. We're looking at our 15-minute, and it shows the big red candle. I do have my chart colored with the background of blue from 5 p.m. to 8:30 a.m. for evening hours. Now, the rule of thumb is that this is the 50 moving average, and what you want to do is if price is above that, you're free to take longs or green candles. If price is below that, you only want to take reds or short candles, and that is the sell is for red shorts, buy is for green longs. Price is above the 50 MA, so we would only want to take longs, but this little trend line says differently that no, it's not going to break out of there, so we want to be mindful of that. Our 15-minute candle is a red candle. We don't trade on the 15-minute, we're trading on the 5-minute, but we want to watch this because every 15 minutes you want to look at the color of that channel and see, hey, is that matching what I want to do? So if this candle is green, we would only be looking at longs. If it's red, you only want to look at shorts as long as price on the 5-minute is above or below the 50 MA accordingly. Okay, our candle is flat and skinny, and it's still green. There hasn't been a red crossover, but the edges have turned red, and so we're looking for a potential red crossover. But it could just as well turn green again because look at this. It turned red. We had a crossover, and then it went up green again. So you want to be mindful of that it can give you false signals. So you don't want to just trade on a red crossover. You want to make sure everything else is according to what you need. Okay, there we go. We have the price breaking down below. You never want to trade on that candle. You want to wait for it to close because during the 5 minutes of that candle, it could easily zoop back up above the white 50 MA into another green takeoff. This is just something to let us know, hey, we've got a red crossover here, and now we're down below the 50 MA, so we can start looking at shorts. Okay, there's also this situation here. We've got a channel where price stopped at this channel several times. So we're also looking for a potential breakout of that channel for confirmation that this is a good trade. I'm going to go ahead and slow this down. And I can speed it up on edit so that it is faster, but for right now, I don't want to miss a potential good entry. So what we look for is a tap back to the cloud before we want to enter a trade. So right now we're still in this channel. Price hasn't really broke down and held this channel. There was kind of a little mini breakout, but then, you know, this channel over here went down a little bit farther. And so, you know, from this swing level here, so we're looking for a breakout that we can actually get in on. Also, we're looking for a cloud tap and then back down. So our red cloud is getting fatter and being more descending, a sharper descent. Right now, price is just going sideways. So we've had this candle go up, this candle's going down. That's another reason we want to wait for a breakout of this channel, because after a crossover, price could immediately plunge down or it could go sideways for a while. Now, we didn't want to take this candle because, again, it was above the 50 MA. This one did turn green, immediately went back up and down. Neither of those candles were good entry points. Then we had a green candle, then it goes up to the cloud. Now price has gone up toward the cloud, but it's still going sideways and there hasn't been really a true breakout. Okay, we have it tapping back to the cloud, so this is a potential for a good entry when it taps off the cloud and turns red. So we're going to hold this and keep an eye on for a tap onto the cloud and down. And we could either get in on that tap or we could get in after the candle actually breaks out. Okay, there we go. We've got kind of a breakout going on here, and we're going to go ahead and press the sell. I could move my stop loss up higher, but it is above the 50 MA, so I'm going to go ahead and keep it. There's no point in losing more if I don't have to. The cloud is fat and descending. It is a breakout of this channel. Our price target is $1,000, which is just above the second support level that we marked. We're going to see what happens at the first support level that we have, to see if, you know, price flounders or what happens. So let's keep an eye on that. Okay, now when we look at our 15-minute chart, this is a very good sign. The 15-minute chart has a red crossover right here. So that's a very good sign that price is going in our direction. I'm going to go ahead and mark a trend line on there. 1805 is 6:05 p.m. Central Time. Over on the 2-minute chart, it's showing that it's steadily going down. And we are using the NQ, and that is NASDAQ Mini. A micro at $410 would be $41. So if you're short on funds, you could do this exact same trade using MNQ. And right now you'd be sitting at $54. But your stop loss would be $25. And that's the thing. Sure, everybody wants to get $1,000. But if you don't want to risk or have $250 to lose, stick with the micros, and then you can just risk $25 with a potential of a $100 trade. Okay, now we're showing that this candle has turned green, but we're going to look over here at the Heikin-Ashi chart. And this is where it smooths out price action and shows the color of who's really in charge. So even though that turned green, there was no reason to freak out because this over here is still red. Also, the candle on the 15-minute is still red and fat, but it is hitting a resistance level here that we marked on this chart. And so we're going to keep an eye on that. I think it's safe to pull our stop loss down into the trade. And so we're going to do that. And we're going to set it for just $85. There's no real specific reason I put it there. I just don't want to lose the $250 if it does pull back out. Now that we're at the support level here, we want to be careful that we don't lose all of our money because we watched it go back to the cloud. We're going to just keep an eye on it. It could just be going sideways around the support level and then shoot on through. So we're still going to give it a chance because over here on our Heikin-Ashi, it's still red. On our 15-minute Heikin-Ashi, it's still red. And on our 15-minute candle chart, it is still red with the normal candles. On our 2-minute chart, we're seeing that price went back up and tapped the cloud at the 9 moving average on our cloud. And that's normal. Price will go back up and tap the cloud, sometimes even go through it to the top and then back down. So we don't want to miss out on a good trade because we got panicked. But if you are the panicky type and it is freaking you out, a $500 win or a $50 win on an evening trade is still good money to a lot of people, especially if you're only making minimum wage on your regular job. But right now you see this is red. Now I have programmed this chart to include the Heikin-Ashi, which is this lighter colored red, as well as underneath are the actual candles that you see over here so that I can see, okay, even though this is a green candle, the Heikin-Ashi is still red. Okay, our 5-minute Heikin-Ashi is showing that it turned a green color here, but we're not concerned because our 15-minute is still red and our 5-minute is still a red candle and our 2-minute is still a red candle. And of course, our cloud is a big, fat, descending cloud. And if we look, that Heikin-Ashi has now turned red again. Okay, we're going to go ahead and pull our stop down to the top of the next candle. Even if price reverses on this, we still get $225 or $22. Price did flounder at the first support level here, and that is normal. You could get some sideways activity before it decides to shoot through. And so our goal this evening is to get the $1,000. It hasn't hit or gone through the support level yet. Now, if you're uncomfortable and you don't trust the trade, you can always close at any time that you have a comfort level. Sometimes closing when the color changes can make you regret it later because you missed out on some good action, but you just want to be careful that you don't hold it so long that you lose out on the profit that you could have had. We just missed our $1,000. You know, we could be having some sideways action before it actually does a reversal because a tap back to the cloud is normal. I missed getting profit just by a tick on this $1,000, but let's go ahead and see if we could get it to go back down again. Okay, so we had our 2 green candles going up to the cloud and tapping back down. And so let's see if we can get that to happen again. Tap up to the cloud and back down. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to move my buy stop up to the bottom of this wick, and we'll try for a $945 profit. Let's move it up to the body where both of these bodies pretty much are the green and the red. Okay, we're getting a second chance. It is red. We're going to go ahead, and this candle is red, so we're going to go ahead and let this candle play out and see what happens, and then we'll close this.
Target filled.
There we go.
Oh, shiny.
So that's it. We've got our $880 profit target. What we've learned is how to look for a crossover, mark our chart for a breakout, look for that breakout and be aware of a potential sideways action after a crossover. We got in on our breakout. We looked at how when a candle turns green, it can return back to the red descending cloud. We want to look at the red descending cloud to make sure that the 15-minute is also supportive of it and the Heikin-Ashis are supportive of it. And so we stayed in the trade and we tried to go to the second support level, which it's not a hard level. It's like somewhere around there. And of course it did somewhere around there reverse. And so then we went back up 2 more candles to the cloud and back down a little more to pretty much where the other candle had ended. And so I would say that's a safe place to get out. Now, because we have been seeing sideways action at this support level, we didn't want to risk trying to stay in the trade. I mean, it already failed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles. Now 6, 7 candles going sideways. So it's easier and better to get back in another trade rather than staying in a trade hoping for the best. Let's just go ahead and fast forward this and see what happens after we got out of that trade. Okay, so price went back up to the top of the back of that cloud to the 20 MA, and it's going sideways a little bit. And now it's still, okay, there it went back down again, but it still didn't break through that support level. Okay, now the cloud is ascending and the candles are turning green, and we have a green crossover, and it is now above that 20 MA, so it's safe to take longs. And price has broken out of that 15-minute trend line that we marked earlier. So let's look at what kind of trade this would have been. If we have the crossover here, we're above the 50 MA, and if we had taken that, that would have been 320 or $32. Okay, now price is going back down again below the 50 MA. We could get in here and go here up to the $600 or $60, or if you wanted to hold through that, you could have gone up to around $895 or $900 or $90 there. This is a candle at 2100. So this candle was at 2100 or 9 o'clock Central Time. And so if you can't trade right after 5 o'clock because you're driving home from work, but you can trade at 9 o'clock, you could have gotten in on this $90, $900 trade. The evening is not the worst time to trade. It's actually got some good trades occasionally. You just have to know what you're looking for. You have to judge that the evening is not going to be as volatile as the day, and so you're probably not going to get as far of a distance, but you can get some really good distances if you have the time to hold it longer. Sometimes a day trade during the day will get you 100 micro, 1,000 mini in just a few minutes, but sometimes the evening trade will take you over an hour to get that same trade. Okay, so we're done for the day. I hope you learned something new. If you did, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Thank you very much.